3000.
What is doing? My name is Maloney. This is the 3000 podcast. I'm joined today by an artist, a performer, musician. Not my Carlson, not your Carlson, but our Carlson. Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, no worries, Maloney. Thanks for having me, mate.
Does the name confuse people? I get it, but a lot of people, I'm guessing, don't get it.
Yeah. I get Al a
They
lot.
just call you that like it's your first name.
Yeah. But it's Kylie, you know? It's our Kylie and
It's,
our Carlson. We were just playing off that.
That
And,
is,
I don't know, everything was just a bit of a gag at the start of this. And, yeah.
That's how a lot of these things start, man. But people, like, you could put a lot of time and effort into something you take seriously, but then the things that you don't think are going to work get the most legs, you know?
Yeah. I think I took the making the record and everything seriously and the lyrics and everything like that. But, I just thought it would be another little shitty band that I did, you know? It lasted a little bit and whatever. So, and it was all just fun. There was a lot of COVID. Like lockdown, so there was a lot of, I was living in the country.
Yeah.
We could hang out with some friends.
Bit more freedom.
Yeah, and we had like my partner and I, and then there was another couple that we just hung out all the time. Yeah. And we took a lot of acid and had silly ideas for our Carlson and creating things, and we were making up like all the press releases and things, which I'd never done before and I'd never think to do. But it was like, this would be funny, and then we're looking up people's press releases, like fashion brands, and we're like, we'll rip it off and make it look like a fashion brand or something, and real high end. And it was just getting silly, but
it worked.
It all translated, I think.
That's it,
yeah.
man.
And we made that first suit that I wore, which was like, it's a rip-off of a nudie suit. That guy made suits for all the country and western stars. And there's Graham Parsons. One of his most famous suits was Graham Parsons' suit, and it's got like weed leaves coming up the legs and all that. So we had like a stained glass window with a weed leaf on the back of it, and then green flames up the legs, and my epilepsy pills all over the legs, which everyone thought were pingers, you know? They're like, love the purple pingers. And, you know, they're purple pingers. That's trending now, but I love that. But they weren't pingers. They're my sodium valproates, you know?
Well, we'll get into all that stuff, but let's talk about you and how you found music and potentially your projects before Al Carlson. So where'd you grow up and where did you find music?
I grew up in the northwestern suburbs in Keeler Park. It's just near the airport.
Yep.
It's kind of like
suburbia?
Yeah. Like by kind of near the airport, it was like people would come over and be like, how do you handle that? And you're like, handle what? It was like the castle, but much less endearing, you know? Don't be fooled. Like, I love the castle and I love it for how endearing it is, but I think it's quite reality of
what it's like.
Yeah. I'm sure some people had that, but anyway, so I grew up there, and there was always a record player around.
Cool.
So that was good. Most of the records were more from the 70s kind of thing. So there was like Stones and
compilations.
A few compilations. There was
cool.
one with "Shut Up Your Face" on it that I would love as kids. You know, we just cranked that. Shut up your face.
Dolce, what's your name?
Joe Dolce?
Yeah. That was ahead of its time, man.
Yeah.
Like, that was essentially like a viral fucking song before the internet, long before
Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
That one. And then there was this guy, Lovelace Watkins.
Okay.
He was like American black guy that done like big show tunes, you know, or he'd do like, there was like CCR and stuff, but with a huge orchestra, and it was a live record. Wow. And he'd like walk around the audience, you know, and he'd say stuff like, he's like, is everybody having a good time? We'll soon change that. All right, let's go. And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson.
Like crooning sort of.
Yeah, with a big band. And that was like a double record of this live show that was just great.
Yeah.
Just like showmanship and everything was next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then...
But that made you think, music doesn't have to just be music. There's a live element and a showmanship element to it.
Yeah, and I really love that, you know. And then the neighbours, there was two girls that lived next door, and one of them got into punk and like No Effects and
like
Fat Records compilations.
Yeah.
The Epitaph, Punkorama ones.
Skate punk sort of thing.
Yeah. And I started, so I got a bit of that off her, and then, sort of went away from there, and then eventually found hardcore.
Yep.
And sort of around year 11, year 12 kind of thing, and then just leaving school. Yeah, started hardcore bands.
The angstiness spoke to you a little bit?
Yeah, I love the angstiness. I was pretty pissed off by then. And then
at the Plains.
Yeah, at the Plains and life and trauma. And then
it's a good
found
release
hardcore.
though. It's a good release, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a great release for me, but still it kind of wasn't everything, you know? I think it was... Yeah, at the time, I don't know. We didn't really know as much. Everyone was just trying to discover about feelings and like more trauma and working through things, how to talk as a man, and like it was just...
That stuff was just pushed to the side.
Yeah. Well, it was just sort of the start of that, but like no one had the tools.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Really, or not many people had the tools.
It's only been the last sort of 10, 15 years, hasn't it?
Yeah. So, but it was still good to yell, writing lyrics, yeah.
And I'm imagining there in sort of stereotypical Melbourne suburbia, newer suburbs, to be a creative person who's not the norm would be tough.
Oh, yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like,
I played footy as well and grew up in a footy club.
Yeah.
And then there was this kind of bit of a divide, but I was always like, oh, yeah, like everyone knew me since I was a kid, so I was all right, but bit weird, you know?
Yeah.
And then... Yeah, when we started playing in my first band, King Brown.
Yep.
We were playing in my garage, and it's like all the neighbours could hear, you know, and they're like,
and this is a hardcore band.
Yeah, it's a hardcore band. And they were like, oh, it's not too bad until the singing starts, you know, and it's like, oh, that's me. But anyway, I get that. It's nice that it wasn't too bad before the singing starts, at least for you. But everyone was cool, you know. They're all, it's a bit different, but it wasn't too bad, you know.
And so where does the evolution of your musical journey go from King Brown in the garage to then what are you experimenting with? Other bands?
Yeah, I guess it was after King Brown, there was a few more sort of punk bands, less hardcore, more maybe punk, still yelling, but that everything just seemed to last a small amount of time.
Yeah.
People got into other stuff. Yeah. They had kids. They got a real job. Yeah. They moved interstate.
Life got in the way.
Life just kept happening, and I seemed to be keen to just make music and cruise around a bit.
Yeah.
And then, so eventually, I think I saw the artist Spike Fuck play and to a backing track. Right. And I was like, I reckon I could do that. Like, I never thought I could get away with it, but I was like, I reckon I could do this, something like this. And I'd been going to a lot of doofs and like into more electronic music. I can still listen to punk and hardcore and rock and everything. But I was just getting a bit more into that, and that seemed to be a good vehicle.
Yeah, for sure. What year are we talking now, sort of roughly?
Oh, I guess that was, I don't know, what year is it? That was like 8 or 9 years ago.
So we're talking sort of mid 2015-ish, sort of that.
Around then was when that started to happen. And then, I don't even know when it was. I'm shocking with dates. But I got epilepsy, which I never had.
Yeah.
Had a seizure.
You never had it, or it was dormant? How does that, because I don't know how epilepsy works. You always have it, or it just becomes active?
No one knows.
Okay.
The brain's very complex. And that's one of the things that I've struggled with is I feel like I'm being interviewed like for trivia questions by the doctor. They're like, okay, so what happens? Tell them what happens before, how do you feel? And they're a bit like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And this and that, like, and you're like, so what do you think? They're like, it's pretty complex, the brain, and didn't respond to this, but not really sure. And you're just like, oh.
If they don't have the answers, who does?
Yeah, there's like 48 different types of epilepsy, you know? And so that, getting epilepsy, that kind of spurred doing this project.
Yeah.
And I guess I was just kind of trauma dumping, really.
Yeah.
And it seemed to work well with some hard electronic music. And then, it evolved from there. Felt good, you know?
Yeah. So with the epilepsy diagnosis, do they say there's 48 different types? We don't know where you are on the spectrum because it's too hard to diagnose, but here's some medication. Is that kind of how they treat it?
Kind of. They, you do a lot of tests.
Scans.
Scans, EEGs, ECGs.
Yep.
And then they say, depends, it might show something. And they're like, okay, you have this type of epilepsy. Yep. You know, you might have photosensitive epilepsy.
Is it hereditary at all, or it's just...
I'm not sure if it's... I think it might be, actually, but it's not in my family. Okay. So it doesn't, you know.
Yeah.
But you get it. If you have a seizure, you have one, technically you don't have epilepsy because you could have a seizure because you're sick. You know, you have the flu.
Your immune system's
down. Your immune system's down. You have gone into some kind of shock. There's all kinds of reasons.
Not enough oxygen to the brain sort of thing.
Yeah, that it could happen where it's just like a once-off kind of thing. Yeah. But then if you have two seizures, then
you're epileptic.
You've got epilepsy. Yeah.
And then when you first found out you had it, when you had your first seizure, was that like, what was that like? Did you know what was going on? It would have just hit you out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was at work doing carpentry, and we went to get some lunch, and the guy I was working with went into the post office to pay some bills, and I was sitting in the car and just started feeling real fucking weird, you know? And I got out of the car and walked in to the post office, and then I sort of just blanked out, and he reckons he turned around and he was like, "Are you all right, mate?" And I didn't look too good, and then just went down, but then I'm out, you know? Yeah. I don't remember anything. And then I'll wake up, say things that kind of don't make sense. They're words, but they don't really go together and make sense. Sentences that are like a bit tweaked. And then, sort of slowly come back and then be like, you know, you had a seizure. And then I'll be like, nah, I didn't, you know, nah. And then convince me that I did. And then again, I'm like, what's going on? You had a seizure. Oh, what? And it just sort of that goes around and around for a while. And then I usually have another one.
Like pretty much in
half an hour, 45 minutes later.
Okay, well, at least you know that now. But at the time, fuck,
Yeah. So that one, the first one I had the second one I had I was at like a medical place. We didn't even go to the hospital because we were like, we're in Geelong. I was like confused.
What did you put it down to? You just thought you were hungover?
We had no idea, you know, like... I think the woman at the post office was like, "Oh, you've had a seizure. Like, he's had a seizure." She knew someone with epilepsy, and then, go to the doctors or to the hospital. But I didn't want to go to the hospital in Geelong and then have to get someone to pick me up or wait in Geelong because I was working down there, living in Blackwood.
Yeah,
it's like an hour and a half away in the bush. So we went back, and the people at the medical centre were like, "What are you doing here? Go to the hospital." And then I had another seizure there and got up out of bed, they said, and jumped across the room and then like headbutted the wall and passed out and woke up in a pool of blood on that one. I still have a bit of scarring here.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The nurses said it was pretty impressive.
So they were entertained at least. But then, so does it take a while for them to give you a diagnosis, or do they just say, "Mate, you've got epilepsy, and it's treatable. There is medication"? Is that how it goes?
Yeah. And you go and you do all your ECGs, your EEGs, and then they say, well, to me, they were like, "Look, that's not showing much up."
Yeah.
And then, can you come back and do it all sleep deprived? So you got to stay up for 24 hours.
What?
And they're like, so this will raise the chances of you having a seizure.
So they're trying to sort of lower you into a seizure.
Yeah, well, or at least that it's showing on the brain, you know. Stressing out. And that's brutal. And when you're living in the country and you're like, I'd come down to the city and stay at a mate's place and then just but just stay up all night, you know? You just
It's weird.
yeah, one of them had this massive painting, and I stayed there a few times. I just fucking stare at that painting, you know, flat out, and just the whole thing. And you watch a bit of a movie, but then you're like, it's 3 a.m. There's people asleep, like, you know.
And you just wouldn't be able to. Oh man, because the anxiety of knowing that you got to go to the hospital and go through all that would be hard for you to just chill out, even.
Yeah. It's pretty hard to chill, and then if you chill too much, you start to doze off. You're like, fuck, have I ruined this?
Got to start in 24 hours again.
Yeah,
for sure. Man, that's rough. So once you get your diagnosis, they can give you medication, and then now can you live reasonably worry-free with the medication? Is that how it works?
I like reasonably. I had a seizure like 9 months ago, I think. Yeah. And that's, you know, the seizure's fucking all right to me. It's afterwards that gets nasty when you can't drive for 6 months.
Well, that's the thing, man. You drove down here for an hour and a half.
Yeah, but once you had a seizure, you can't drive for 6 months.
Which makes sense.
Makes sense, you know, but all last summer I couldn't drive.
Fuck yeah.
And to do this, no.
Too hard, yeah.
To do a tour, a lot harder.
Yeah.
For me to lock in, I love driving.
Yep.
I love it more than flying. I'd drive around Australia and do a tour, but to book that in 4 months, and then to think maybe I can't drive then, it's like,
it's tough.
Yeah, getting jobs can be hard.
Yeah.
Holding a job.
But surely they can't hold that against you. That'd be discrimination, though, if you've got a pre-diagnosed medical condition.
Yeah, it would, but any driving job is out.
Yeah, that's true.
And when you're a musician, you're just looking to get a little bit of cash here and there. Yeah. Like driving jobs are pretty, you know.
The gig economy, that helps.
Yeah, I'm a carpenter. I do that sometimes, but like when I was in the country, I had to stop that because I was working by myself. Yeah. And it's like, what happens if I'm up a ladder and I have a seizure? That's fucked. And every time you're up a ladder, you're like, well, fuck.
And that induces anxiety, which potentially could bring it on.
Yeah,
man. Did you, once you found out you had it, did people reach out and say, man, did you find an epilepsy community?
Amazing. Like musos. Right. So many that I knew.
You just didn't know.
Yeah, I just didn't know.
Right. It's not the kind of thing you advertise, I guess, but if you ask, they'll,
Yeah. And it probably had a lot more stigma in the past than like everything's, you know.
Has the medication been around for long, or is that a reasonably sort of new thing, or it is getting better?
It's getting a lot better.
Okay.
The doctor my first seizure, the doctor was like, you know, a lot of people live a long and happy life these days with epilepsy. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Oh, fuck it. Shit, I'm dead here. So obviously that to me, I took that as the medication's come a long way. And
Yeah, what a time to be.
So I think, I mean, in the 80s, I think it was horrible. Ian Curtis, Joy Division. Seen any of those biopics and anything, like, you know, what he went through.
Yep.
And the medications and everything just...
Man, a lot of people fucking hate on the pharmaceutical industry, but there is awesome opportunities now. So there is good with the bad, you know what I mean?
Oh, of course. Like, without penicillin, things would not be how they are today. Exactly. It was like an absolute game changer.
Yeah.
It's game changers everywhere, but... Yeah.
They cop a bad rap. I'm not saying I'm a big fan, but, you know, obviously, you know, medical advances, we've got to take the good with the bad and that sort of thing, man. So it's good that you can get medicated now and carry on as much of a normal life as possible. Yeah.
It's good. There's challenges there, but, I mean, if I was having seizures all the time...
Good.
No good at all.
And I'm guessing because you're pretty open about it and you've got somewhat of a platform, I'm guessing people reach out to you that find out that they've got it and you kind of have to coach them a little bit through it.
Yeah. You get a bit of that. But
that's cool, I guess.
It's cool. Yeah, I like it. It's nice, you know, and you can only give my experience and, for sure. I don't really give medical advice, but... I say this is my experience, and you can't really go wrong with that.
No, but I think, and that's one good thing about the internet now, is it like 20 years ago, someone finds out they've got epilepsy as an adult, you might feel really isolated. You might feel like, fuck, why is this me? But now with the internet, people go, I was going through that. I'm going through that, you know?
Yeah. It's opened it up a lot more, and you can just, contact, like anyone can just contact me, you know? You can just pretty much contact anyone if you're
if you want to.
Yeah, if you want to.
It's up to them to respond or not.
That's right.
A lot of people leave it in the request. So with your musical journey, you find out you've got epilepsy. Lockdowns are happening, and that's where the A.L. Carlson project kicks off.
Yeah. I guess it was just before that, you know, but I think the record was kind of ready. Yep. We recorded the vocals on the day of the lockdown.
The first ever
Forgot
lockdown.
about that. Yeah. I was driving to the city from Blackwood, and it was like...
Where's Blackwood, just so I can get understanding?
Daylesford, Wood End,
right.
out that way. Yeah.
Nice spot.
Yeah. It's like 350 people in the bush.
Yep.
Pub and a cafe.
Cool.
But, yeah, I was driving in, and then it was like, what's going on? This is weird. And, you know, I got to the city, and it was like, yeah, I think on the way in, they called, like, shut it down, you know? And me and my mate Pat, we just went to the studio, and we're like, this is weird. Hey, there's no one on the streets. I was like, all right, we'll just turn our phones off and forget about whatever's going on there until we get this job done, hey? And so then all the, like, planning and the artwork and
everything,
all that fun stuff, and
you had plenty of time for that.
I had plenty of time for that.
But you recorded the vocals that day.
Yeah.
And then musically, instrumentally, how did you had that done already?
Yeah. My mate Izzy Stabs, he came up when I had the idea. I was like, he'd just started making some electronic music, some beats, and I was like, come up and I got this idea.
Yeah.
I'd already had I had this narrative running through my head after going to the doctors one day, and I just like yelled it into a device, you know? And then he came up, we made a beat, and we're like, oh, well, what are we going to do? I was like, well, just chuck it over it like it is, and we'll see. We're going to chop it up, and we'll see how it works. And it was just worked, like, and it came off the beat and on the beat, but it's just a ramble, and it worked. So we just sort of went from there. Made a few more beats.
Do you enjoy the unpolishedness of that? Is that part of you do? Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Especially that song. There's heaps of mistakes in the recorded version. I think I only did it once. Yeah. But I like, because it is a ramble and I'm confused and I stumble over words. Yeah. And I was like, nah, let's leave that in.
Yeah.
That's good. And it really works for that. It's called Ain't Too Great, Mate, that song. Yeah. And it really works for that one.
And that's awesome that you can get your art out like that, because some people, even to sound like it's spontaneous, they put a lot of effort into it, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd lose interest if it took me like, you know, a year to make a song, or, you know, it's cool. Why didn't people put that in? Like, but for me, I don't think it works.
You don't have the patience and it's just not natural. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the latest stuff, this is what I got to start doing all the artwork and all that for that now. Yeah. Latest release. Most of the songs I did with this guy, Nicodemus, and we pretty much made everything in 3 or 4 hours per track. We'd just sit there. I might have a line to go off, and then we like, what do we want? We'd just sort of chat, start making a beat, and then I'd start writing lyrics, and then we'd just 3 hours later, 4 hours later, it'd be rough mixed and done.
Yeah, wow. Because that's the thing. I don't make music. I've tried in the past, but I would never know when it's finished when people sit there in the studio for days on end. How would you know when it's finished? You could work forever making something sonically perfect. So your way to just do it and do it one take is amazing. I love that shit.
Especially electronic music, because
you can make it perfect, sort of.
Well, and you can just keep going and going. Like, I've spent so much time putting this filter on and like this
million plugins.
A million. And then you're like, the one that was good ages ago, you forget what you were even using and you've pushed too far away and you're like, oh, like, it's hard for me. That's why I kind of like working with someone else's. Yeah. Good to go.
For sure.
And I'll say it's done.
Yeah.
Okay. Or they'll say it's done. But when it's just me, I'll be like, oh, it's not done. Maybe that's not. I don't know. I guess I'm more of you want it to be perfect if it's all me, but if it's I don't know what that is.
Yeah, but does it make it hard to perform these tracks live when you just do what happened on the spot? Because you won't. Can you recall the words? But that's all part of the live performance as well. If you do fuck it all up.
Yeah, I don't generally sing how it's sung on the record live. It's kind of a different thing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm yelling a lot more live. I'll go on a tangent, on a rant about something else, just depending on what's going on at the time, the media and the world, what I'm feeling, there's one song that doesn't really have lyrics. Like, it's got a general gist and a few things that I say, but it's sort of made up.
Yeah.
And I just ramble in it a lot. And it's like, I don't want to smoke no more. It's actually Dean Blunt. Everyone's like, you're going to put it out, but it's a fucking Dean Blunt loop or Baby Father. And I don't reckon we'll get that, but so I don't know if we can put it out. I don't even know what the legalities around that is. You just do it. If they come at you, I don't know. Like,
that's it, man. I think Gautier once said, he goes, put everything out, and if they sue you or send you a cease and desist, you're doing all right because people are paying attention, So that's the mentality. You just put shit out.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe we'll have a go at that. I don't know. But yeah, some of the songs I just sort of make up. There's one, about the prison system, and it's got like a Chappelle Corby grab in it from when she was on Channel 7. She's like, if you're over 15 years old and say that you've never heard the name Chappelle Corby, bullshit, bullshit, And I just rant about the prison system and using art through trauma and like free the refugees and but it sort of changes, Yeah. Doesn't really have a...
It's just a soapbox for you to get your opinions and shit out, essentially.
Yeah, it's kind of what the whole thing is. But, you need a little bit of structure for the people. They like to sing along to the choruses. You give them that sometimes.
You got to give them a chorus and then you can get your opinions across.
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's awesome. So when most people, when they come up with a project, they work on it for quite a while and their first gig will be pretty small, but you didn't do it that way, did you?
Nah.
Tell us about your first gig.
Well, I didn't really have much. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do live, I was like, I hadn't thought that far ahead.
You didn't even know what you were doing recorded, so how do you know what you're going to do live?
Correct. So then my mate Cash rings me and he goes, she's in Cash Savage and the Last Drinks, her band. They're a big deal, They tour over, go big in Europe and huge in Melbourne. And they were like, look, we're going to do they're going to do the old bar because that's where they traditionally came from. We'll go back there and play a show because they're just coming out of COVID. They need some cash. Yeah. We love them. Do you want to play? Perfect. Yeah. Best first show ever. With my best mates at my favourite bar, small venue, guaranteed to be packed. Yeah. Going to be great. And then 2 days later, she gives me a call and she says, mate, we've been offered the Forum on the same day. It's their second night of shows. And I was like, mate, get someone else. Like,
get someone else.
I'm not going to sell you a ticket. Like, I'm keen, but I ain't selling you a $50 ticket, but do what you want, but I can't see me moving many units. And then she's like, oh, look, I will just wanted to see if you're keen or whatever. We'll think about it. And then, she called me back later on and was like, nah, let's fucking go, mate. Like, this is great. Let's do it. Yeah. We're doing it. Yeah. And then, Uncle Jack Charles got up before me and then did like an acknowledgement. And then, got up with my mate Katie Pearson, who's sick DJ. She was DJing for that show. And, it was mad.
Yeah. What a first gig, man.
Yeah. And it went really well.
And you've got a whole instant audience there as well. You know what I mean? Like, you're winning over new fans straight away sort of thing.
Yeah. And there's like people there at those shows as well that, I got booked for another couple of shows and festivals and things off that are a bit bigger,
Yeah.
Straight away. And because I had the suit on, Katie's cool as fuck. And I didn't know what to do because it's such a big stage. Like, that thing is, the Forum's like...
I reckon it's the best venue in Melbourne, personally.
Yeah. But that stage is huge. Yeah. And I'm like, what am I going to do? It's like Katie and then me And like, whoa. So I just, like old hardcore days, I just paced back and forth. And then that's kind of become my thing, I think, pacing. Just because, I mean, if it had been the old bar, pacing mightn't happen. There's only 3 steps on that stage for me.
Pacing and ranting kind of go well together, though.
Yeah, they do. They go really well together.
Yeah. So then from that gig, you're off to the races, I guess. You've got an initial pretty good audience that are watching. You're getting booked for other gigs. Is Meredith what happens next? Festivals, that sort of thing?
Yeah, a few festivals. I think just after that I had an album launch, which was at the old bar.
You had to
back
get to old bar at some point.
Went back home. And that, that sold out. And then, went on a little tour with the UV race. We did a couple of country gigs. Mm-hmm. And I think there was just a buzz after that, and I played some small gigs. And then Cash come in and started DJing with me. I think we did the Labour in Vain.
Yep.
And that was just chockers.
Yeah. But people were thirsty for live stuff then because they'd been locked away. So when they're getting a raw emotion, dude ranting and yelling and screaming, that we all lost that. Like we missed that,
Yeah, and everyone was so traumatized and just like everyone just wanted to talk about their trauma. So I was really just came out at the right time.
Yeah.
Disability also was and still is trending pretty hard, which is sick to see, but that's what's happening, artists with disabilities are just getting a platform that they'd never
Fest, Dylan
had.
Alcott's
Ability Fest. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, Disability Fest, that's still sick.
Yeah.
I prefer Disability Fest.
Ability Fest. I know Dylan. I apologise, man, but
I played that as well with
awesome.
with Shouse. Yeah. They got me to just MC over their whole DJ set.
Amazing.
After the Hilltop Woods, and they're like, there's footage. I didn't even know. There's like fucking fireworks going off behind us and everything, but which I don't know, it was so loud and whatever on stage, I didn't even know. And
so did the Hoods stay and watch your set? Did they come up after and say?
Yeah, that was fucking sick. And I was like, what is my life? What's going on here?
Did they know what they're in for?
I don't know. I don't think anyone really did, but Shouse, I don't know, they're lovely guys and they've always helped me out and backed me and yeah. Like, I was like, what do you want me to do? Like, you sure about this? And they're like, mate, do whatever you want. Yeah. We know you got this. Say whatever you want. Like, It's
from a performer's perspective, it's pretty good. People just give you free reign and they go, you go nuts and do whatever you want. We don't really know what to expect. You just fucking do it. Can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah. And they know I'm going to respect the boundaries of them, and what they need and what Ability Fest needs. If it's my own show, I might not respect the boundaries so much, but that's... I can ruin my own shit if I want, That's why I like it. That's why it's our Carlson, because, I mean, it says our, but it's Carlson, That's my name, and I can ruin it if I want.
For sure.
Which is a big chance that could happen, Meredith came, and that was like, I thought I maybe cooked it after that.
Right, explain.
Well, I was just on stage. I said, any band. There's been a lot of strobes. Right. A lot. And everyone was coming up to me going, did you see this act on the strobes? Did you see this? And some of them I did, some of them I didn't. I was there on Friday, but I was kind of trying to take it easy, playing on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Don't overcook it, Yeah. Big show. But everyone's talking about the strobes. And there was a few acts even that were like, softer rock acts that had wild strobes. And I was like, what's going on, So I got on stage and said, any band that has used strobes in this festival so far is fucking ableist. And Meredith Music Festival, you're fucking ableist for having strobes.
Because it could induce
seizures.
Epilepsy.
Yeah. Seizures. But not only like hell of a lot of people that are neurodiverse have a lot of issues with strobes. Mm-hmm. Whether it be you're in bed, some people are in bed for a week. Some people get a migraine for half an hour. Some people get totally disorientated. Okay. It's like 10% of people with epilepsy have photosensitive epilepsy, which means the flickering light will make you have a seizure. Yeah. But there's so many people with neurodiversities that from autism to like that just it affects them a hell of a lot as well. But because movies, Hollywood, The Simpsons when they went to Japan, it's so easy to depict a flashing light and someone having a seizure that's what's been used. So that's what everyone thinks.
It's become part of the popular culture of a stereotype.
Yeah, if people think epilepsy, they usually think like flashing lights would be like, you know, shaking on the ground and flashing lights. But flashing lights is for 10% of
But
people.
it's still there.
But it's still there, yeah. I got friends with it that got epilepsy and, you know, just did a musical called Strobes Are on the Nose with
I've got that.
Bridget, Hex Tape.
Yeah.
And she's got photosensitive epilepsy. So, you know, a lot, and plays a lot of raves, goes to a lot and can't if it's strobing.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a tough one though, man. It's kind of like, I feel like it does go hand in hand with the music, but the music also could people who have certain conditions, the music could be too much for them as well, you know?
Yeah, I think that's correct. Like people say what's safe and some people can't walk outside on a windy day, you know, and they can't. That's just the facts. But the amount of people that get affected by strobes is a lot more than you'd realise. Mm-hmm. People don't want to talk about it because you get blown off as, someone gets a headache, can't have a strobe, you know? People don't want to whinge and complain, but there's so many. I know so many of my friends that have messaged festivals, all kinds of things. I want to come. I've volunteered at your festival the last 4 years, but I can't handle the strobes, and I really, you know, but...
So Meredith still has strobes?
No, Meredith...
Okay.
Well, they have strobes, but they quickly changed it before Golden Plains, which is 3 months. Mm-hmm. Amazing. They drastically cut 80%, I think, of strobes or more. And they've got a system in place where if you have no strobes or, you know, flickering light, then there's nothing next to your name. I believe if you have some movement, you know, but it's not too bad, then you have a circle next to your name. And if you have intense strobing, then you have a triangle next to your name.
On the program.
On the program, which is amazing.
Like vegetarian options on a menu.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And people generally are not using strobes now at their festival. Because people kind of know, but you can leave, you know, if it's like, there's a big strobe thing, but Kraftwerk come through. They're not telling Kraftwerk you can't use your strobe show.
You can't.
Like it's the whole thing, like people are touring with these things. Yeah. You just got to make it safe and
Does sunnies make a difference at all with that sort of stuff?
Yeah, sunnies make a difference.
Okay.
For sure.
Yep.
But like at Meredith, Mike Skinner, I'm in the streets.
Yeah.
Mike Skinner has epilepsy.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And his shows just strobe crazy.
Yeah.
You know? And I went to his...
Do they trigger for you or not for you?
Not for epilepsy, but they do for other neurodiversities. It can make me feel pretty whack. And
Can
you
you elaborate on that? Because that's something I've never really heard about.
It make me feel a bit like I'm on drugs if I'm not. You know, not
bad?
the bad drugs or something.
Okay.
Like just a bit like I can't balance this a little bit.
Okay.
Might get a bit of a headache and
Messes with your equilibrium. Sort of
yeah. And then it also shits me because even if I feel fine, I'm having a great day, everything's fine, I don't mind the strobes. Someone's coming up to me to talk about the strobes pretty soon as they start, and I am not locked in anymore, you know?
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's like, I'm having a sick one, and then the strobes go off, and you're like,
where's the strobes guy?
Yeah. Where's the fuck strobes guy? So, yeah. I mean... I think it's great. I think if you want to have strobes, but you're a prick. But have things that say, like if you buy a ticket to a show and then you rock up and like you should have a warning when you're buying tickets.
Okay.
Imagine you rock up and then it's like, It's happened to me. I drove in from the city when I lived in the country and got there and there was a strobe warning on the door and I was like, oof. And I went in anyway and ended up in Sunnies, but the streets gig I took a headband. Like I made a headband thing that wrote no strobes across it. And I just pulled it over my eyes when he was using the strobes.
So has anyone asked Mike Skinner about it with him having epilepsy and having a strobe heavy show?
Not sure. I mean, I tried to contact him, but
It sat in the requests.
yeah. I sent them to management, and like it's not hard to find people's emails and things like that. But yeah, I emailed, but I don't know. Who knows if someone's talking to Mike about that? Yeah. Does Mike care? I don't know. Is that part of the charm? I don't know. So I can...
For sure, man. This was later down the list of stuff I was going to talk to you about, but do you want to talk about the puppetry, the golden scissor puppetry and the strobes on the nose thing?
Yeah. So it was just last Thursday.
Yeah.
It feels like ages ago now.
Well, it is going to be ages when this comes out.
Yeah, good. Okay, yeah, that's fair. We are not live. So that was the council came to Bridget and I, Hex Tape, and we've been talking about doing something small together, like.
And for people that don't know, these puppets are fucking pretty amazing.
Yeah, they're big, but that sort of came in later. We sort of got asked to Bridget and I, who makes live electronic music and plays classical cello, has epilepsy, worked at the Epilepsy Centre, took recordings of an MRI and made an electronic album that feels like you're in an MRI machine, which is fucked and amazing. I've been in them, but
it's not great.
Yeah. And the record's amazing, but it's pretty cooked. Trigger inducing, that one.
With those MRI machines, they're like, what do you want to listen to? We can give you something, and they play something in your ear, and it still goes like that.
Oh, I never had that.
Man, it didn't. It still was like.
You listened to Bridget's album.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's mad. So we would been talking about Bridget, like DJs a lot, and me emceeing over the top, having a bit of fun, and then I think I was mouthing off to someone at a party who worked at the council, and then that got sort of moved through. I think they had someone dropped out, and then it was like, I think Carlson and Hex Tape talking about doing something, and someone else was like, oh, that'd be cool, and sort of lucky break that happened, and they gave us a little bit of cash.
Wow.
Which
it's nice.
You don't really get from the get-go too often, and so we'd never had a puppet budget. The money they gave us, we thought, well, this is a puppet budget. Let's get some puppets involved. And I wrote this big script. It's like crazy post-apocalyptic anti-strobe story. It was told from 80 years from now.
Okay. So it's based in the future.
But set now.
Oh, wow.
Someone from 80 years from now talking about
a history
next year, a story from next year, and they're revving up people to go into battle to fight,
the strobes.
Well, capitalism. The strobes had been used to put the boomers under the control of, the elite, which is kind of like, I used Ken Kesey and who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and then did a lot of strobe work with the Grateful Dead, and I pretended that was the US government had done that to stop the counterculture of the time, which is why all the boomers turned out, well, not all, but a lot of them turned out like they did with their multiple houses and their Sky News, and forgetting about everything that they were fighting for back in the day that they believed when they were a youth.
Yeah.
Which is something I've always tried not to do, just try not to give up, because it would be so easy. Not easy, but just to not care and get a job that's immoral, that pays good money. And
having a conscience is hard, man.
Yeah, it keeps you broke. So far, anyway. But yeah. I'm actually not that broke, to be honest. I bought a house in the country for not much money with 20 grand, and then
being carpenter helps.
Yeah, that helps. And then COVID happened, and that house all became worth quite a lot more money than we had left on the mortgage. And then I couldn't keep doing music from out there. It was getting too hard. I was travelling in, sleeping on couches. Mm-hmm. So we thought, let's sell the house, and moved into a share house in the city. And so that's kind of why I can kind of do what I'm doing. I work a little bit, bumping in festivals, PAs, do a bit of carpentry every now and again, but I'm currently just sucking away at the money that I should not suck away at. But what are you going to do, you know?
You can't take it with you, man.
Yeah, and like...
I did it the opposite way. We bought down here after COVID, and now we're seeing a dip.
Yeah, you're broke.
Yeah. We've had 17 interest rate rises since, you know? So.
Yeah, that's when I was like, oh, man, we've got to get out of this. I can't afford the mortgage, and there's fucking nothing on it.
But look, if you time it right from a big picture perspective, it's going to all shit itself again. You could get back into the market again, you know, buy low and sell high.
Yeah, but we'll have spent all that money on making records and going on tour. It's like...
The puppet budget doesn't last forever.
The puppet budget does not last forever. But we'll see what happens there. Maybe that could go, you know?
Tell us about some of the puppets, man, because they look amazing.
Yeah, so the Puppets of Golden Scissor Puppets is the puppet company, the puppeteers.
Yeah.
And we went in with the story, sat there with Opal, who is the head of the Golden Scissor Puppets.
Yeah.
And, told the story and then just started talking about characters, who are going to be main characters. There's Jim Boogie, Jim Boogie's the bad guy, owns the clubs, the bad clubs, you know, the male coke sniffing fucking creep. They're around, you know, they're in Melbourne.
I know a few.
Yeah. I mean, do the maths. His name's Jim Boogie. There's a couple of fucking clues in there, I guess. And Jim's like, got a cowboy hat on. Obviously, do the maths on that. You see these people, they wear the cowboy hats, these creeps, you know, the old rock dog ones.
Okay.
And then has like crutches, you know, but the crutches make Jim look huge. The crutches are the arms, and Jim like walks around and had a huge bag of acid flash, which is the drug they use in the
future.
Yeah, in the future. He's just sort of creepy head, and then there's a sound technician as well, and it was all purple and creepy looking. But then the sound technician, the head was on your arm. So you lift it up real high, and the sound technician's like, its face is 7 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And then it comes to talk to you, and it comes down and low and down at your face. And and then there was a few club rats. And
did you feel that it was your duty to call out these characters?
Yeah, shit, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, shit, yeah, you got to call them out.
Right.
I mean, they own a lot of the venues, and some people have to play them, you know, like they don't have to, but I understand why they play them. I'm lucky enough that I've got enough breaks that I can say, nah.
Okay.
I don't want your money.
Yep.
Or quadruple it, and then I'll do it, you know.
Yep.
You got to pay the patriarchy tax.
So is there personal stuff that's happened to you, or you just feel that they're just overly sleazy in general?
Yeah, it doesn't happen to me.
Yep, okay.
They think I'm one of them, or they want to matesy up with me because I sound like I grew up next to the airport, and, you know, I'm a white male who's tall and confident, and I crack good jokes. So, but it's what they sort of do to other people and how they treat young female bands compared to young male bands. It's just the patriarchy.
Okay.
You know? And if these people just keep going and going because nobody calls them out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's bizarre that it's 2024 and that kind of culture's still going. Like, it's not fucking 1980 anymore, you know?
Yeah, but you got to look who's running things, you know? Like, at that level that's up there, when we actually get paid, you know, for a gig every now and again and get some good exposure, most of the people, I'm not talking about Meredith and Golden Plains, but a lot of the festivals at that level, there's just pricks that have been around forever, you know, and that's how the power works. Yep. Look who's running the race for president in America in 2024.
Yeah.
It's crazy, those two people. Like, they're just old white dudes that are just holding on to this power.
But when you look at the other options, like, okay, so Biden might, we went political really quickly, but Biden might step down, but are they going to vote for a woman of colour down south? I don't think so. That's a whole country that probably wouldn't, you know?
Obama got in.
He's not a woman.
Yeah, I know. But are they going to vote for a black man down south?
Well, they didn't, no. But the majority rules.
Yeah. And I think if they're your two best, like, I understand Trump, you know, he's playing a game that's...
He's playing a character, I think.
Yeah. And he's like, people are pissed off and he's like appealing to them, you know, and he's doing a good job of what he's trying to do, like, which is get in and be a prick. And like, he's shocking, but...
He's been practicing being a prick for a long time.
Yeah, and his opponent is not in career best form. We'll say that. And yeah, I don't know. If that's what's coming forward, it's like, really, we've got to look at the whole system.
For sure, man. Look, the two-party system in anywhere, I think, is fucked. And people say, oh, it's not really like that, but it pretty much is.
One-party system, more like it.
Yeah, I think, and when you look at it, I was saying to someone the other day, like, they don't want Biden to step down because he's in that mental, physical state that he's in. He's easy for them just to do whatever they tell him to do.
Yeah, I guess, probably. And it's also just, like, he's a fucking prick too. Don't worry about that. Yeah. But, I don't know, the way the internet's going at him as well, it's a bit fucking rude, you know? It's ableist. It's like, this guy.
Yeah.
Clearly.
But you put yourself out there to run one of the biggest countries in the world, you're going to get some criticism. Especially when you can't string a fucking sentence together. Yeah,
I think that's fair, but I don't know if... I know that's what's going to happen, but I just think it's punching down. You know, like, this is a pretty bad degenerative disease.
Yeah.
Like...
But should he be running the country then, though?
Is he the person that can say no? I can't be... He's not going to say that. You know? People should have pulled him out before this.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not... And then everyone's just... saying all this stuff about him, like, and then there's people everywhere with family members, or they got dementia themselves, and then this is the main rhetoric of the world at the moment, that this guy's a fucking idiot because he's got dementia.
See, that's the flip side to when we were talking earlier about the medical sort of system and good drugs that do well for people. Maybe humans aren't supposed to live to 100 because the body kind of gives up at some stage, you know?
Yeah.
Look, a couple of 100 years ago, people weren't living that age now. And that's why dementia is such a thing, because people are continually living longer, and can their minds hold up for that period of time?
Yeah, maybe. It could have a lot to do with our way of life as well. You know, there's a lot of things about fasting and dementia at the moment that Western science is getting around. And
go into that for us a bit?
That fasting helps clean out a lot of bad cells, and then that helps a lot with dementia in your older age.
Okay. But there's got to be a fine line. You can't just fast, you know?
Oh, yeah. There's not like, you're not fasting forever.
I've had a guest on this show. I won't name them because I don't know if he wants us to talk about it, but he fasted for 99 days and drank nothing but juice. That can't be good for you.
Yeah, I don't reckon that's too good for you. I mean, the juice, depends what the juice was.
Just juice he drank for 99 days.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like it's not the best. But this is like not eating before 12 o'clock.
Intermittent
fasting. A couple of days a week.
Yeah.
Maybe once a year you go a couple of days. Yeah. But, yeah, so maybe there wasn't as much dementia back then. People were fasting a lot.
Yeah.
And...
But I just think people weren't living as long, you know?
Yeah.
They reckon that with the way medicine's going and with science that people are going to live to 150 in the next 50 years, which is like bananas.
is that us or people that are born in 50 years?
Man, I don't know. I'll have to look in. Don't quote me on that, but I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I don't want to live forever, man. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be Joe Biden and people pushing me into situations I don't want to be in.
Yeah, same. I don't surely. But then David Attenborough's 98.
He is
Fucking killing it.
Yeah.
Seems like so switched on. Like
I think. Look, like
he's on something. I reckon he's got some kind of dinosaur.
No, I just think that he's obviously a very intelligent person. He's had a job that stimulates him mentally for the last however long, 70 years. So he stays on the ball. I think a lot of people that stop working, stop doing what they love in whatever capacity, that's when they sort of trend downhill pretty quickly, older people. And the fact that he gets to keep working and doing what he loves keeps him useful, I guess.
Yeah, I guess some kind of genetics.
Yeah.
Bit of help there as well.
Yeah, you reckon?
Surely. I don't know. 98, he's like...
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, he does...
Looks like he's going to do 110. 110? I reckon it looks like he's going to do 110.
But that's what they say. When I say they, like medical professionals, that people are going to just live longer and longer, you know? To make it to 150 years ago was like unheard of, and now people are doing it pretty regularly.
It's probably handy because, you know... I'm 40 and this is just sort of starting to kick off for me. So I might need an extra few years. I'm a bit of a late bloomer.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm 42 next month. So, yeah, I've got to make stuff happen. Got to make it happen. Man, I love the tangents, but where do we go from here? It's been good. Went from club politics to politics. It was good.
Yeah, that'll happen pretty quick.
It did. So let's get back on your journey. So, man, what haven't we talked about? Oh, we're talking about the puppets. So the puppets are awesome. That story sounds amazing. It was a one-off show, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it'll happen again.
Okay.
At the start, we were like, maybe we'll just cover each other's tracks together, you know?
Yeah.
And then I just seem to blow everything up a little bit bigger than it needs to be.
Okay.
And pretty soon there was a full dialogue and, yeah, puppets, and it was a full stage production.
Yep.
We went a bit into the theatre. I went full thespian and I want to go back, to be honest.
Right.
It was great. You tread those boards.
Yeah.
And those beautiful theatres, and you're like, oh my God, you can see why people are into this. This is...
And was it well responded by the audience?
Yeah, a lot.
Right. Were you expecting that? Because it is pretty left of centre.
I thought people would be like that. Looked amazing.
What the fuck was that?
But was like absolutely cooked. I didn't get it, but I loved the music and it looked amazing. But everyone seemed to get 80% of the storyline and things I was saying.
The character
slide references.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a bit of buzz on the internet about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, people seemed to get it. And it really came across, which I was surprised by. I think because a lot of it is me just almost rambling, you know? Mm-hmm. A story that is like 4 songs and like 4 kind of tracks.
Are you in one of the puppets?
No.
You're
I'm playing a narrator or... So when we go into battle, I'm narrating, and then it's like we're going into battle, into war. Yeah. But the battle is in the club.
Okay.
Against the strobe.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm in the club against the strobe, and then I come out and I'm the narrator.
Yeah.
So technically, it's me as an old person telling us, like, getting people ready to go into a battle, telling a story about when I was young going into battle in the clubs to destroy strobes. If that makes sense.
It does, but I really want to see it. Can you record it?
Yeah, there's footage of it. But we'll do it. I think we'll do it again.
Okay, cool.
There's like, people are keen and...
Yeah.
But...
Other councils, or it's going to be in that sort of same thing?
Yeah, maybe other councils, I think, or it's something you could take to a festival that's a bit like more of a dark mofo or... Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Go to Garden of Unearthly Delights.
You mentioned Dark Mofo. You've played that as well, man. What's that like? I've never been. I've been to that venue, but I've never been to Dark Mofo. Was it sick?
Yeah, it was cool. It was like, yeah, it's kind of they just turn the whole city into sort of a mecca of cooked music.
But you can say everything you dislike about capitalism, but it's interesting how the one biggest tourist attraction in Tassie is privately owned.
Yeah, but didn't he get it because he owed heaps of tax money to the government?
Gambling.
He owed heaps of tax money to the government, I think.
Okay.
And he said, give us this land, and instead of paying the tax back, I'll make this thing.
And that's their biggest, like by far, that's got to be their biggest tourism thing.
Yeah, surely.
Yeah.
Surely,
yeah. And I think when the footy team kicks off, that'll be great for their tourism as well. Like I know a lot of the locals don't like the idea of having a, mainland football team thing, whatever, but that'll be amazing for their tourism dollar. People will be going for trips over there all the time.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
See where they put that stadium. It's a bit controversial.
It is very controversial, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they just want to take a beautiful spot and put a massive stadium, which the numbers say they don't have the population to hold.
What kind of capacity are they talking? Like 60,000?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. Which, yeah, when you think about it, like you've got Marvel Stadium or whatever, that's like 60,000. Unless they get two decent teams, you don't usually fill that.
Yeah.
So what's the population of Hobart? Not much.
7? 8? I don't know. No, I don't even know.
No, it's got to be like maybe, 70, 80,000.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe 100. Yeah.
Well, I think Adelaide's 100,000. So, or maybe, no, sorry, Adelaide's a million.
1.2. Yeah, 1.2.
1.2.
And that was back in the day.
I get my decimals mixed up.
Oh, love Adelaide.
Yeah.
I've got to get there soon.
The thing I love about Adelaide is they make it sound like it's really big when you're there, even when it's not. So like you want to go and get something to eat. Oh, you got to go to Gouger Street, which is a block away. And if you want to go out at night, you got to go to Hindley. But if you want to buy stuff, you got to go to Rundle, which is the same fucking street. And Gouger Street's 2 blocks away, and they go, you got to go there. You're like, can't you eat where you go out? I don't know. It's funny, man.
It's a country town. It's a big ass country town.
The best thing about it is the airport's right there, which is sick. We don't have that luxury.
Yeah. Well, I did. Yeah. It wasn't that good. But yeah, I used to go to Adelaide a lot with my hardcore band. We had a $2 records over there, put our record out, and we just split with a band called, what were they called? Donkey Kong.
Okay.
Yeah. Donkey Kong.
That's a cease and desist waiting to happen, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think anything got big enough for a cease and desist.
Nintendo wouldn't have loved that.
And then, so we went over there and played a lot. Yep. And we were probably more popular there than in Melbourne. Because we weren't that cool. Like, we were trying not to be cool even. They're pushing it that far, like actively making, like wrestling in the pit, cricket in the pit, football, like actively making hardcore as suburban as we could.
Yep.
And
it's going to ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, that went off in Adelaide. They loved it. Melbourne, not so much.
Yeah.
So we went over there heaps and made a lot of good mates over there. And I loved how you go to the airport, get into town, you go to the pub, sit on the street, and the next thing, there'd be 30 people there that you knew because there's one street. Yeah. On Saturday, you're going to walk down it.
Yeah. One thing I can't get my head around in Adelaide is that they've got the 2 different sized pints. That fucking annoys me. Imperial and normal pints or whatever it is.
Yeah, the whole thing's crazy. I don't want to get into that. Seriously. The whole thing, everywhere you go, it's like some of them don't make sense. No. They're wrong. They're wrong. But all words are made up, so I don't want to sit here and tell you what to call your drink, you know?
Have you been to Broken Hill, man? Last time I went to Adelaide, I drove back through there. That's a crazy fucking place.
Yeah, I've played there twice.
Yeah. What's that like?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I played in the Priscilla pub the first time.
Cool, with the big shoe thing.
Yeah. With the rooms and
the painted
staircase.
Yeah.
So played there. That was pretty cool. Ticked that off. And I've got a couple of mates up there, so stuck around for a while. And
yeah, because it's a funny place. Because I think it's in New South Wales, but they're on Adelaide time or something.
Yeah.
And you're in New South Wales. You're on Adelaide time. They like AFL and they drink Adelaide beer.
It's a wild place.
It's a wild place.
Blake and Fright. It's still happening. It's still there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It's really nice. And there's Murruwinji National Park, which is, I don't know, an hour away, hour and a half. Depends on the weather and the roads.
Yeah.
But that's Aboriginal Run National Park. And yeah, it's beautiful up there. Leroy Johnson's he's the manager of the park, and he's also got a band that are sick. Leroy Johnson and the Waterbag Band. And yeah, he's amazing. I think people know about this. Oh, you know when you know something and you don't know whether you should say?
It's going to come out in 2 weeks. I'll cut it out if you're not allowed to.
Yes.
1 hour and 5 minutes, I'll cut it out here if we have to.
Yeah, nice. If not, go Leroy.
Good on
Absolute legend, a great storyteller.
Yep.
Amazing songs and knowledge of the bush. And
yeah. Sick. Man, what about the Community Cup? Like, I know you've been involved with that for a while. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's just been the last 2 years.
Yep.
I've been with that. And
you got a footy background?
I got a footy background, so that helped. I'm tall. So, yeah, that's just an amazing day out that raises a lot of money.
Yep.
Raises money for disadvantaged people to play sports.
Which is important.
Which is very important. Social sports. Might be netball, could be indoor soccer. They have football teams. They have football teams from drug and alcohol rehabilitation centres that they make up a team. Another one makes up a team. You know, they play. It's things that we take for granted. I play netball. Played last night.
I love netball.
Play netball every Wednesday.
Yep.
We take that for granted as, anyone can just join a netball team. Nah. Anyone can't. And it's really a great social thing. And I believe that day, RecLink is nationwide.
Yep.
And I believe that game of footy makes close to enough money for them to run for the year. And then everything else is, they get obviously grants and things like that. But it is, it's huge. And a great day for our community, like, all musicians, and it's mostly Triple R and PBS. I think sometimes there's 3CR but against the broadcasters, we train together.
Yep.
You hang out. It's like
you win together.
You draw together, and a lot of the announcers are my mates. It's great fun to play on that ground. Like, I don't watch AFL now. Like, I just find if you watch AFL, it's all anyone wants to talk to you about. So, and if you're a tradie, it's even worse. So,
try being a white male who likes sport, who doesn't like UFC. People can't get their head around it. Every time they're like, "Where are you watching the fights?" I'm like, "I don't like it, man." They're like, "Why?"
But like, I loved footy in the early 90s, late 80s, like early 90s especially. Like, I was at the 93 grand final.
93.
That was Essendon, Carlton.
Yep, okay.
Mark McCurry and Joe Mercedes played, who were both from Kill Park Footy Club. Wow. I knew them growing up. Like, it was, my cousin played in the curtain raiser for the Western Jets. Like, it was, I was around that, and that was pretty fucking sick. What were we talking about there?
No. But we're just talking about the RecLink Cup and how it's cool to play on that ground. But
running out on that ground is like, you feel like Mick McGuire in the 80s. Like, we trained there twice as well under lights.
Yeah.
And that just, you feel like it's the early 90s and you're Sav Rocker kicking goals from, or not kicking goals from 50, having a crack at a barrel from 50. And it's just...
For sure.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Man, and that's one thing that's really, really good about the AFLW is that these community grounds are being used more. Like, even down this way, at Frankston, they play some games there. So for people like us, we don't have to go away to the city. You can go have a beer and freeze your ass off in Frankston rather than going to the MCG. Yeah,
that's it. And those grounds are so cool. Like, I just caught the tail end. I remember going to North Melbourne, I remember going to Footscray, and I remember going to Windy Hill quite a lot.
Yep.
But, like, I don't know. There's just an experience. Maybe it's nostalgia for me, but I love those old grounds. I love old anything, record players, reel to reels, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just into old shit.
Because it was cooler.
Well, I guess you only remember the cool bits.
You do.
All the shit bits about it, you kind of forget.
For sure.
It's not like footy players were any better then. They were probably much worse,
Man, I've got a footy record that I'll find. I pulled it out the other day. It's fucking awesome. It's called Footy Favourites, and all these old footy players from the 80s. We're talking like VFL transferring to AFL, recorded songs. It's fucking bananas.
Who's recording songs? Do you know the players?
Man, I'll grab it for you. It's like I did a little reel the other day on Instagram with it. There's players I'd never heard of, but then a few that we had.
It's like not like Mark Jacko Jackson, I'm an individual, but it'd be around that time, wouldn't it?
It was definitely around that time.
They were just like, fuck, he made a bit of coin, let's have a go.
It must have been. I don't know. It was bizarre.
He's his attractor. That's a good song.
Well, yeah, he was. That was when rap was becoming popular, and then they were like, "How do we commercialize this? Who's going to rap?" And then
new wave and punk and rap together, and Mark Jacko Jackson.
I think the other day on Rage, Jim Owen programmed it and had a lot of comedy tracks. Did you catch that?
No, I wanted to. I might go back and watch that. I saw him.
I watched it, man. He had some songs that he put out as well, which I didn't even. He does a version of Danny Boy,
Yeah.
with a rap in it, and he does a version of another song, Don't Worry, Be Happy or something as well, which I've totally missed that, and I used to love Jim Owen.
I'm going to get into comedy soon anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jim Owen's singing songs.
Yeah.
I can have a go at comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to do everything, seriously.
Yeah.
There's fucking no money around.
It's not.
Nah, I'm like pretending I'm a theatre person, and now, people that don't listen to this podcast are going to believe that. They're like, oh, there's theatre, and
That's the amazing thing about the internet and Instagram especially, right? You can kind of make up your own narrative. You can put something in your Instagram bio and people just kind of believe you.
Yeah, and you can, make yourself look a certain way.
Yeah.
With editing and videos and what you do post, what you don't post. Oh, you only post your big shows or Yeah, it's wild. And it's borderline everyone. Like, you can't not do it to a degree.
Yeah, and that's the thing that really sucks. Like, I think for someone like yourself who's an interesting person, creating content, for lack of a better term, just is natural. You're like, oh, this is whatever. But for people that are just artists that want to do a certain thing and they have to create the content, that's a struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not music.
No.
Like, but it is the performing arts. It's like, I expect a lot more theatre kids to be doing better at music, because I know some theatre kids, and when they do as in they were theatre kids and now they're adults, making music, and when they do these videos, like the funny videos, they're fucking hilarious,
Yeah.
And that's, people want to see a reel.
Yeah, I know.
A funny reel.
They do. Yeah. And now Instagram wants you to go live. That's what they want you to do. As soon as someone the other day, my mate goes, it's so obnoxious the way Instagram are pushing lives. If you go live, every single one of your followers gets a notification. That is obnoxious, isn't it?
Really? Everyone gets a notification?
Everyone gets a notification.
If you're online?
If you're online, I don't think you get a pop-up notification. If you're set for them, you might.
I don't have pop-ups at all.
No, I don't like them either. But because if you've got an account that gets a bit of interaction, you don't want to get notifications all the time.
Yeah, or if you've got a group thread that's throwing a few memes around and you're trying to get something done, you can't have that.
No, it is.
Some hot memes, and you're like, fucking settle down. Trying to do the shopping. That's good material, but put my phone on silent.
Hot memes. I love it. Yeah, the group chats are great when you don't have much on, but when you want to be productive and you look and you got 50 fucking messages to catch up on, you just go, guys, I've got no idea. What have I missed out on? And generally,
quick
it's
recap.
Fucking munch,
Yeah, give us a quick recap.
Man, we were talking about the Community Cup. So it was a draw this year. Was it a draw last year as well?
No, last year we lost.
You had a result. Okay.
Yeah, but there was like siren gate,
Yeah.
which the siren went off early.
Yeah.
And there was some people who were saying there was cheating, blah, 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 which I think.
Friendly competition.
Yeah, but it's also great if you only got a friendly competition. People don't really want to watch that. I thought it was just a friendly competition, but what people want is a rivalry.
Okay, yeah.
They want to see that rivalry, you know? So the siren went off early. A lot of people said that the megahertz cheated, but in fact what happened was I was about to go on stage and play, and I think they just blow the siren at 4 o'clock because I played and the Cosmic Psychos played, and they have to be off at X for council because it's right in the middle of Collingwood.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And we have skits where people run on and deliver pizza onto the ground, or, you know?
Yeah.
Some people run around with a Palestinian flag for 10 minutes. And that's going to push the game over.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they just blew the siren, and then everyone was like, cheaters.
Siren gate.
Yeah. But you got to get into that, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. But this year it was a draw, which was a lot more harmonious.
It was a lot more harmonious. Someone said, I kicked one, I hit the point post, and there was a rumour going around that they put that on the board as a point when it should be on the full. Right. Don't know, but...
It should be on the full.
Yeah. Don't know whether they put it up for a point.
Well, it's not hard. There was only about 7 scores in the whole game.
Yeah, I think I kicked 3 points. I had a shocker on the boot.
Are you the captain?
Nah.
I saw you holding the cup up.
I didn't even touch the cup.
You didn't touch the cup?
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, whose stories was I looking at with that then? I don't know.
Don't know. I didn't even,
You didn't get a touch.
I didn't even touch a cup. Yeah, I saw photos afterwards. I was like, where was I? I guess we didn't win, so I didn't really.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do
you hold it?
Seems strange.
Where the draw thing is a funny one, man. Like, I think you should just be playing extra time.
That when it happened, everyone just stopped and looked and were like, are we playing extra time? It's like the grand final, but there's no coming back next week. And everyone sort of just stopped and then just went, awesome, mad. Yeah. And it was really good to have a draw, and
for sure.
Yeah, it's nice.
Talking about those awesome halcyon days of the AFL, how good was State of Origin back then? That was awesome. The big V.
Yeah, it was wild. It was when that left, I was like, NRL is better than AFL.
But they just started to embrace it. Like I don't think they started to do the State of Origin until the 80s when the footy VFL started in the 70s.
Yeah, but
they continued.
The VFL stopped because they didn't want to get hurt playing for their clubs, where the Origin for them is nearly as big as the grand final.
It's bigger, I think. Yeah.
Which is, you don't see that much in sports, you know?
No, you don't at all.
You don't see that ever in sports at that level. They're making too much cash.
Even if you look at the NBA and their All-Star game thing is just nothing now. You know what I mean? There's not many big sports around the world where you can have some sort of a fucking exhibition game that is bigger than your actual league.
Yeah, or that people even try to start with. Yeah. You know, it doesn't. But yeah, so I always thought that was cool that they go so hard.
Man,
and I watched the women's one. I missed the second one because that was the night I was doing the theatre performance. Yeah. Strobes are on the nose, but the one before that. Mm-hmm. Brutal and amazing.
And those people, I don't know if the women's competition is running now, but the guys, they'll play 3 days later for their club.
Yeah. I saw some thing about one of the old players talking about how they went out all night and then played for their club.
Well, remember when they tried to take the AFL and they had the combined thing with Ireland? And then those guys, and they just punch on because there was no repercussions.
And the Irish guys were all tradies. They would. And the AFL players pushed him, and the Irish guy goes, all right, and just cracks him. And then oh my God, they are actually throwing down. This is, it was wild.
They should bring that back, I think. And then they tried an Indigenous thing against the non-Indigenous players, which didn't work. And there's talk about them trying to bring it back, the proper State of Origin, which would be cool if they did.
I don't think they could.
Well,
There's no history behind it. Ted Whitten's dead. Like,
It died with Teddy, you reckon?
yeah, I think like he was bananas for it. You know, he was so pro Victoria and like
It started with Victoria versus WA, didn't it?
South Australia, I think.
Australia and then WA.
Yeah. And then the Allies for a bit.
Yeah, which was Tassie, New South Wales and Queensland.
ACT.
Yeah, ACT, yeah.
Yeah.
The Allies are orange. They had the orange and blue. The grey, yeah.
Yeah.
A on there.
Scotty Cummings played for them, I think.
Yeah, he did too. And he played for Port when they first come into the competition.
Yeah, he was Essendon
game
before that.
Yeah, he got traded. Then, fuck, footy.
Anyway, who cares?
Who cares?
Fuck. Free Palestine, mate. Fucking 90s footy. So somehow I'm sitting here, I don't follow footy because I think it's irrelevant, and you've got me talking about footy that's even more irrelevant than the footy that's going on now.
I've actually got a guy that I went to school with who played footy for a while who's going to come on the show, and it's going to be a totally different angle because he came from the flats, he grew up and he made it, and he'll be totally candid about the prejudice and the way that it is a bit of an elitist sort of thing, you know, a private school boy thing. So that's going to be a really cool angle.
Oh, yeah, that'll be really good.
And I mean, he'll be honest about what goes on behind the scenes as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool because I've been driving around in summer for years, and every time you look at a cricket pitch and someone's having a hit, that's brown people, you know? Yep. But you look at the Australian team and it's a majority white boys, you know, because we get the breaks. I mean, I'm from the wrong side of the river. Like, you know, even as a working class white kid, I get a lot of breaks, you know, that black and brown people, Asian people don't get, you know?
Yeah, well, I think in the whole AFL, there's only ever been one Asian player the whole time. And
I think there's one now, isn't there?
Oh,
because Peter Bell. Look, you got me again with the footy. Peter Bell. I fucking know as well.
But
my brain doesn't even work. But I remember all this shit.
This year they also had the first Sheasel is the first Jewish player as well. So there is getting some diversity. It's taking a long time, but it's a very white elitist. Fucking, you know, that's the way that
Australia.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, I'm talking about sporting competitions. But yeah, look, no.
It goes through everything. And sports, that's the thing about sports in this country is if you can change sports, you can change so much, you know?
Yeah.
It's wild, like, and the cricket team I'm so shocked in, like, supporting Usman Khawaja. The way they did, I thought was excellent.
Because someone had a go at him in England, didn't they? When he walked through the rooms.
Yeah. But then this year, or last year, I guess, the summer, whatever, he had From the River to the Sea written on his boots.
Oh, that's right.
And Free Palestine, maybe. And they were like, you can't do that. And he's Muslim and he was talking about all his beliefs and everything. And the team really supported him and everything they said. I don't know who's training them, but they're doing a great job. And you don't see it that much. I'm sure AFL players wouldn't know what to say. Yeah.
Well, it's trending in the right direction that people are trying to do the right thing. I think what happens with these big organisations, I don't know how Cricket Australia works, but there's the Australian team and then there'll be a bigger board, which is like Cricket Australia. Like Basketball Australia, and then there's the national basketball team. So there's different levels of it. So the team could support them, but the bigger thing may not support them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look at what happened with the national netball team. They didn't want to be sponsored by Gina Reinhart, and they walked. And Netball Australia's like, we need this money, but they stood by them. That was cool.
That was cool. And, you know, it's the netballers, and it was like a First Nations person on the team that was in there they were fighting for as well, and it seems to be always the way, you know. And then AFL, what AFL player has done anything for, you know, something like that? They don't speak out. They're not expected to. If a band doesn't say Free Palestine, a lot of the community will turn on them, you know, if they're not doing it like if someone's not doing the right thing, they'll get called into line.
Yep.
If you're in a band, doing, playing at my level. But all these people love AFL players, but they never get called out for anything. They're immune for politics because everyone loves footy so much that they'll just put the blinkers on. And that's what really drives me crazy about footy.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. It's lost its authenticity, which was what was cool about it. And that's why you revert back to that time when you feel like it was just what it was, sport. Now it's not.
Yeah, maybe I didn't care about all that stuff then.
Okay.
So,
your maturing process.
Yeah. And, it's just what I loved. And I didn't see anything bad in it because, even someone punching someone, I think is pretty fucking shit now. But back then, I would have thought it was cool.
Yeah. You touched on the Melbourne music scene, and like you said, for bands of your level. You think it's in a good spot at the moment? You think there's a lot of good music happening and a lot of good shows?
Yeah. I think there's heaps of good music and shows, but I don't know how long it's going to last. It seems to be getting harder and harder to make any money.
Yep.
And you can only go on for so long putting in as much as a lot of us put in when it's a hobby.
Yep.
And
the art suffers.
Yeah. And I think, there's struggle and art and all that, but how broke am I going to be? The longer I keep doing this, how broke am I going to be when I'm 70? How broke's my partner going to be? But
it's about leaving a legacy, though, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, fucking legacy.
No, I know that doesn't pay the bills, but at the same time...
I've got to pay the bills.
You do.
And everybody's got to pay the bills. We are living under capitalism. I may go on about it a lot. It's keeping me broker. But, I have to earn money to live, to get by. And the amount of time I put into music, if I can't pull that back and do some work, then I can't keep going. Yeah. If I don't get a big break, which... you're not really getting in this country. You've got to go overseas.
Yeah. And there is a market out over there. That's why I guess you've got a lot of bands that do travel a lot. You look at, Amel and the Sniffers and stuff. They're always traveling Europe and the US because that's where you make the money.
Perfect example, yeah. And they can tour and tour and tour. And if they were here, they could do regional shows and do okay. But it's like how many times can you do it? How many times are you going to pay $70 to see a band once a year kind of thing,
Yeah.
To make any money, you can't play every week.
No. Well, the market just isn't here. Do you know what I mean? It just isn't. We don't have the people.
I think we got the people because it's been here. In the 80s, it was here.
Yeah. There's no internet and people, you weren't fighting for people's attention as much.
Yeah.
People had to go to the pub to fucking socialise.
Yeah. I think pokies destroyed a bit and then it just keeps going and going.
Pokies was the worst thing that ever happened to Victoria.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and I try and explain this to people that are younger than me, I'm like, until 95, there was no such thing as pokies. They did not exist. And they came in under this guise that we're going to put money into sports clubs. And I say this all the time to people, every single pokies pub is probably within 150 metres of a pretty densely council, commission, housing, whatever you want to call it. And that's not a coincidence. They fucking prey on those people.
Yeah, and even the RSL is just shocking. And there is there's some young members that are trying to change that and get rid of all pokies because, these people have been to war and they are traumatised and you're just come to the spot where you can socialise with your mates, but also there's this absolute trap for traumatised people just sitting there.
Horrible. No. Gambling is the biggest unspoken evil, I think, in this country. And we have such availability to it. Anyone can bet whenever they want to, whether it's online, go to the TAB, go to the pokies, and that's fucked. I think people don't talk about it enough. I think it's really, really messed up here.
Yeah, you can bet on under 12s, under 14s.
Really?
I think it's cricket. In Australia, I saw something on ABC did something. But there was Maribyrnong Cricket Club. They went and spoke to them, and they were like, "Do you know this?" And they were like, "No," because in cricket they film every game from one angle, and all the stats go into this for every game and there's these overseas betting accounts, and they run books on them.
That's fucked.
And soccer as well, and it's getting down. And then what's that for corruption? Yeah. Like, how hard is it to throw an under-14s game in, like your best player, you say just go out there and let the wicket go. Like,
yeah.
And it's just, government just makes so much money, they don't care.
No. And I just think, it's real. Like, before we had all that, Melbourne, Victoria was in a better spot. The rest of the country already had all those gaming machines, and we didn't bring it in until recently. And it's definitely fucked it, I believe.
Yeah. And we used to, remember as kids, family go on a trip to a Toecutter, so you go over to Moama and your parents would play the pokies.
But then the novelty would wear off and they'd go home. They might give you a handful of 20-cent coins or whatever. But now people are literally tipping their life savings into that stuff.
Yeah.
Like people are putting...
AFL's a disgrace. Like, it's just everywhere. I remember my cousin's kids were like 12 or 13 and they're like 18 now, but they were like, blah, blah, blah's playing this much for the first goal. And I'm like, these kids shouldn't know this.
No.
But it's just everywhere. It's half time.
And I think for people that are trying to do the right thing and trying to get away from that gambling, it is rammed down your throat so much. Like, if you just want to watch your team, you constantly have betting advertising in your face, which they have to stop, I believe. Like, it's got to go the way of cigarette advertising or something.
Yes. You can't. I can't be looking at a pack of ciggies, looking at what I'm looking at. Meanwhile, they just put this ad on of someone winning. Oh my God, it's amazing. And then at the end it says, gambling could destroy your life. Please don't do this.
Yeah. Like, how contradictory can you be?
Yeah.
For sure.
That's wild.
We're tackling the big issues, man.
Always. Always got to tackle the big issues. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. Do you want to tell us about what's coming up for Al Carlson in the future? Man, we've almost done an hour and a half. We're having a great chat, but if you want to just... Yeah, it goes quick, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. What's coming up? I've got a record. I've got to finish that.
Physical record? Are you gonna...
Yeah, it'll be physical. That'll be my third physical record, but first album, first LP.
Yep.
First one was 45, 12-inch 45. Second one didn't quite fit, but it's like 3 tracks on one side and 3 remixes on the other.
Yep.
And then this will be...
Full album.
Full album. Just finishing putting it together.
Yep.
I got to listen to a mix of most of the songs. It's mostly with Nicodemus, and then I'm putting a couple of tracks. I've got so many tracks that I haven't released. Mm-hmm. So I'm slipping a couple of them in there.
Yep.
Maybe the Smoke No More one, which is Dean Blunt.
And a clip?
Rip off. Film clip?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably do a couple of film clips.
Yep.
But, yeah, post the Puppet Show. That's what's next. Yep. And then a little tour for that.
Merch.
Probably won't play any festivals because
strobes.
There ain't none.
There isn't any.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about strobes at festivals because there's no festivals. And then go overseas next year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Europe?
Yeah, Europe.
Nice.
Maybe America, I don't know. But Europe.
Uh-huh.
Going a festival booked.
Cool.
And then start working on stuff around that now.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
For sure.
But just been sort of gearing up behind the scenes for that.
Yeah.
Kind of ready on stage, but off stage, still learning so much about this crazy fucking industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Never stop learning.
Never stop learning. But yeah, my partner and I manage our Carlson together and we don't know what we're doing, but we're working it out. We've got friends that help us, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, often get an acronym and someone's like, send me this. I'm like, the fuck is a blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't fucking even know if I have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting through it. So hopefully by next year we'll have enough of the behind the scenes stuff that when we go to Europe it can kind of matter.
For sure. And I guess, oh shit, what have we done there? I've hit the wrong button. Oh, the camera's turned off. Well, that's fucking good, isn't it? That's probably about the right time. Al Carlson, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it. And I really want you to come back again because I think you're a really interesting dude. We've got so much we can talk about.
Love to, man. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
3,000.
Cheers.
Cheers.
3,000.